All right, guys. Here we are, episode 10. I can't believe it. Episode 10 of the Pwncast. This guest, man, a lot of people have came to me saying, hey, let's get this guy going. I'd really like to hear from him. You guys have seen him over there on Twitch quite a bit. Just chilling, playing different characters quite a bit. And also on YouTube, making, amazing quality YouTube videos that are known as just quality, cozy. They tell a beautiful story, and it's really something that you can just sit down and just watch like a TV show, man. And I personally, I've really enjoyed it. But once again, guys, without further ado, Crumpet, man, tell us a little bit about yourself.
But that was too nice of an intro. I can't believe you've done this. I think I need to bring myself down now a little bit, No. That Scottishness needs to come in. I started playing Outlands in July after a 10 plus year break. And let me tell you, I am addicted in a bad way. I've played almost nothing else since July. It's really, I feel like I'm like 14 again, like after school, coming home, logging in, playing UO. But now I'm 36 and I'm doing it, So it's crazy how things change, but they stay the same.
Yeah, it's a shame when your actual responsibilities matter a lot more, right? And you can't just push them to the side. But man, there really is. There's nothing better than doing whatever it is you're doing through the day or whatever, and just looking forward to getting home, putting your feet up, kicking back, and playing whatever your favorite game is, man. And for a lot of people, it really has. It's been Outlands, and like yourself, you said it's been 10 years since you played.
I think more probably. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what server you played? Was it retail?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what was that about?
Of course. Yeah. So I played retail, OSI. Well, I call it OSI. I think it's changed like Broadsword and whatever these days, but to me, it's always OSI. I played retail. I started playing in the Second Age, that big purple box.
Yeah. Me too. There we go. With Mundane, right? Nice. The wizard. And
yeah. I've still got it actually. I managed to find a sealed copy on eBay for $2. I was so excited.
Wow.
So I started playing on OSI, Second Age on Drachenfels, which is like the German shard. Don't know why I started on that shard. I just did. But I got the game because back when I was young, like you'd finish school, you'd have dinner, and like all the kids would go out, all different ages, didn't matter. And this older kid, Ian, he was like a big gamer, and he was like, "Man, I'm playing this crazy game. There's millions of players. You can be a wizard." Or he was like a marketing person for this game. It felt like, and he sold me on it, and I went down to the game, and it was like $2. I don't know why it was so cheap. Brought it home, quickly realized it was a monthly sub, which my parents. True. Yeah. And back then, my parents were like, yeah, putting your card on the internet back then was like, you're going to get scammed. You're going to lose your house. So I think I bought 3 or 4 copies in a row. Just every month I'd buy a new copy of the game, make a new 30-day trial, level up, start again, until eventually my parents were like, all right, this is your Christmas. We'll give you a monthly sub. And that was it, man. I was hooked for, I think my account was about 10 years because it used to track the months, right? Because you got your rewards. So I think my account was about 10 years long before I finally quit.
Yeah. I remember with the new players, you'd get like the new player tickets, and you would match it with somebody. And you'd get like a Harry style deed or whatever, And I always just thought that was the coolest thing ever. But I lucked out. My father had played Ultima prior to me, and so because of that, I didn't have to worry about what you're saying about being worried to put your credit card on. But I mean, everybody says the same thing because it was the Wild West. You know what I mean? It was the so pioneer game of put your card on, monthly subscription, and things like that. So completely new, just like an MMORPG in general, right? But what? All right, so tell us, Crumpet. What's the name about?
Well, it's bad. First of all,
I thought it was a pastry.
It is. It's like a breaded, British pastry, which means that outside of this small island, no one knows what it is, which I didn't realize or think about at the time. Actually, my first online gaming handle was the Scottish Hero, which I thought was a badass name.
Okay,
but that leads to getting bullied in Call of Duty lobbies, or people asking if you're Scottish because they don't believe you, which is really weird. So eventually, I was like, I hate this name. I had to change it. And I was watching a guy called, Duck Sauce. He was like a World of Warcraft streamer.
Maybe.
Well, one day he was like, "Oh, I got my name because I saw like a duck and some sauce," and I was like, "Genius!" And I was like, "That's amazing." So I started like trying to put things together and come up with different bits and pieces. And I liked the idea of like in an MMO having like something like crumpet or croissant or whatever it was. And yeah, I went with crumpet, and it kind of just stuck. I've been survival crumpet, retro crumpet, like various kind of incarnations of it before I kind of just settled on the crumpet, which is terrible for if you're on Twitch or YouTube for SEO, because I'm never ranking on the first like 100 pages of Google for crumpet. But it's where we are today.
That's great. Okay, I was thinking crumpet, like, isn't there like a pastry, right? A little British. I mean, but Scottish, not British. But
we're definitely Scottish.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay, so T2A was when you started, and I mean, what kind of like gameplay were you more interested in? I mean, was it just roaming around? Was it PvP, stealing, crafting? What role play?
Well, man, I'm so glad on some of the previous episodes where people have said that they didn't know what they were doing. Because I think my first few years, that was me. I was just like walking around, like, I didn't know what I was doing. And it took me a while to kind of figure out, I guess, my place in the game. I was in a mining guild for a while. Thought that was cool. I was in like, various kind of, those guilds are like mass recruiting. That like, they often aren't the best guilds to be in because there's no kind of like structure there. But eventually I fell into the stealing and player killing side of the game. I was like 14, 15. So to me, that was super cool.
Yeah.
And that kind of became my, I'd log in, do some stealing until eventually, item insurance came in. And then I was just all out player killer. I actually found PVM really boring in UO back in the day, to be honest with you. I didn't really find it. Unlike Outlands, which I love the grind, I love the progression. To me, in UO, like when you were max all GM skills, like that was endgame. You were done,
Yeah.
So then I was like, factions, player killing, a little bit of order and chaos. Like I could have missed that part of the game. But yeah, mainly killing and stealing.
It was kind of the same for me. Like I roamed around forever. And I remember stealing and just I enjoyed that quite a bit, right? But it's the same thing, PVM and Ultima at its base. It's kind of like, okay, I farmed 100K today, good job, like that's it. But Outlands, like you said, the form of progression gives it a lot more fun. Like you may have heard me on stream say, like, I'm ready for the next progression item to come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I enjoyed grinding the weapon codexes, the taming bestiary, the thief codex, and things like that. That's fun for me.
I agree.
And finding different templates that really I just kind of go for something fun, right? But you know what? And then ever since Red Hand Thieving came out, man, I've just really found, the most fun, and you've even said it too. You just really love stealing. You're it's just that chase is just so adrenaline rush and invigorating out of everything. So
No, I totally agree. I think I honestly think the PVM, the kind of progression is, there are lots of great things with Outlands, but I think that constant like carrot on a stick, that constant like, got my codex, my aspect, my mastery chain. Oh, I'm going to echo now to a different build and start, like there's always something new to try. And I love the fact that, like yesterday I got my third echo. I'm doing a mage bard now. So it's my first mage character on Outlands. and just doing my grimoire. I'm leveling up Provo, and like trying something new. Like I feel like there's always something new to learn. I haven't touched boating yet, which is like almost like a new game in itself. There's all this stuff that
completely new game.
yeah. There's all this cool stuff to work for, and I really love that. And I think even though I lean more towards the stealing and the player killing, I think I actually really love the PVM. And I found myself doing that more than anything in Outlands, just because there's always like a little checkbox, I'm always like, yes, I'm a little bit stronger, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Just even getting close to like your aspect next level or something like that's a lot of fun. And then you're 100% right, man. Like boating is a completely different game. I mean, you're out there on the ocean. If you want to, anywhere else in the game, it's like you can just recall there instantly, right? But you can't do that, boating really, unless you just want to leave your boat or whatever. But it's just a completely new mini game with, I don't want to say mini game because it's not mini, but with crew members and upgrades and wealth beyond wealth and just a whole new world out there. And I think Outlands has done a really good job in creating progression and different types of play, like boating, like PVM and dungeons, or wilderness, or PvP events, or just wilderness PvP. Out what's it called, overland PvP and stuff like that. So, I don't remember. I know somebody out there will correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't really remember that being that many choices of things to do on other shards that I've played on in the past. And I've played on quite a few, but I mean, what have you played on any other free servers like that?
No, it's my first one, to be honest with you. I think,
really?
Yeah. Well, because I was like really big into like my shard, my characters, and back then, like free shards to me were like, oh, I'm going to lose my account, which I know now isn't true, but back then, I was a bit younger, I didn't really have that knowledge. And just the idea that I might lose my account scared me off from playing any free shards.
Like your retail account or your...
Yeah, my retail account, yeah. Which isn't true, but I always thought, somehow they'll get my OSI account, right? And I'll lose all my stuff. And which I think only happens if you use the same email address, the same password, like you can get around that. But I was young and dumb. So yeah, no, I never played them. And when I did eventually quit playing Ultima, it wasn't because I didn't like the game. It was because my shard just died. Like I would log in and run around, I would see no one. It was like, it just didn't feel like an MMO anymore. Yeah. So yeah, I more quit because my friends quit, my guild quit, my whole shard quit basically. And the idea of starting again or moving characters didn't really appeal to me. So I went cold turkey basically.
Yeah, I mean, you said something really important there, is that all your friends quit and it was empty. And, I think an MMORPG, I mean, a massive multiplayer. I mean, maybe Ultima Online Outlands isn't massive, right? But it's a large multiplayer game. And I think it's so important. What makes it fun is that fact that there is other people there, and they can steal from you, they can kill you, or they can help you kill the monster that you're struggling with, or res you if you die, or whatever. And then maybe somewhere in there that develops into a friendship, and you guys are talking in Discord, farming together, and things like that. And I mean, I would agree with you that most of the time when I've quit any other MMORPG, it's because my friends have stopped playing. The group that I found just stopped playing, or a group started playing another game and I just wanted to play with them. Like I think that friendship and playing with people is what makes a game that's already great be really good, So.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't know how you feel about it, but like when I was playing OSI, I would like join guilds, I would talk to anyone. Mm-hmm. But when I stopped playing UO, I kind of became that solo MMO player. I would start playing like Albion Online. I play on my own, and I just quit naturally through attrition. But I find with UO, like I was saying to you a moment ago, I was doing, before this podcast, I was doing bosses with my guild, like I feel like it naturally makes you more social, because I think you kind of have to be. Like, there's no random dungeon finder, there's no like I'll go to a vendor and buy everything. It's like you have to speak to people and connect, and then you learn names. And on Outlands, it's not massive, but it's still about 3K-ish players online, and you get to like go and talk to them and learn what skills you like, what you don't like, and kind of build up those connections. And I think to me anyway, like no other game, it forces me to be social, which I really like as well.
Yeah, it's that social aspect. I mean, for me, running down into a dungeon and seeing a known thief hunter, right? Like Bashot,
damn Bashot. You can see it,
yeah. You see him, and he at least like stops, and he's like, "What are you up to today? Causing mischief?" You know what I mean? And like, that's fun, man. That is so much fun, and it's that interaction that you like, because we just both said his name at the same time, right? He's a known thief hunter, and we both play thieves, right? And then like you. The reason I bring that up is you go through a dungeon, and it's like you said, 3,000 players online roughly, and you don't know everybody's intricate details about them, but you see a lot of similar names, and you some names start to recognize in your head, and you're like, okay, he's just solid PVM. Oh, this guy, I know he'll gray bait me if he gets the chance. Like if I get low life, he'll dump on me, or he might pull monsters on me or whatever. Like you kind of start to learn how certain people play, and you love people and you hate people, and
exactly, which is fun, right?
It's totally, and you don't. I also play World of Warcraft, and it's like I've got this group of friends that I'm playing and I'm with, and I'm having a wonderful time with. But anybody outside of that circle of friends, I don't know a thing about them, and they'll maybe join our group and they'll be lost to the wind, and I'll never see them again. And I think that right there is such a huge element that's missed out on in MMORPGs today, tremendously.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's such a hard balance, I think, because you want the game to be as big as it can be, right? But the moment that happens, you lose that sense of like, oh, I know Backshot, or I know, whoever. Yeah. And it's tricky. I think that's one thing I find quite interesting with Outlands is that I joke on my stream that we're all in this pyramid scheme where like we all try and recruit someone to Outlands because we all want to see it keep going, It's like, man, if I recruit 2 people and they recruit 2 people, but it's true. I think there's this kind of like interesting community, right? And it's got heroes and villains, but we all want more people to come into the game and experience it, right? I think that's like a universal kind of thought process. Whereas when I've played WoW or any MMO, I've never thought, man, I hope more players play this game, right? It's never crossed my mind. But in Outlands, I'm like, oh, it's a new player. Let's talk to him. Let's get him settled.
That's really interesting you say that, because I've always wanted more people to play this game, but I've never put it together that I want more people to play this, but then when I play other games, I just feel compelled to tell other people about it and my friends and things like that. You're right. I never really have. And it's really interesting that it's like that. And, I think you also said that there's a threshold of where, that you could lose that if it got too big. And I always agree with that. Kazuma was a funny guy he was making a game. I don't really remember exactly the premise of it, but I would always tell him, like, if I was ever to make an MMORPG, I never will, but if I was, I would want to protect that culture, like what Outlands has, of a population, we'll call it a limit of about where Outlands is, maybe a little bit bigger, double or something, but to where you still get that, like, certain people that you run into. And then at that point, maybe make multiple servers that keep that population limit. That way, you do know people on there, at least to the degree that we're talking about, because I think that is a big part of what protects that culture. I mean, you see in Discord, you see some like, there's trolling, and then there's just like outright asshole trolling. And I think the Outlands community does an amazing job protecting from the asshole trolling, like, you know, there's PKing somebody and taking their shit, and then there's just like, you know, but so
no, agree. I totally agree.
What speaking of, you know, I kind of brought it up a little bit, but you never played Free Shards except for Outlands.
Yeah.
But then fast forward 10 years from there, what was you know, what got you the itch to do UO? I mean, how did you figure all that out?
Yeah, man, dude, the YouTube algorithm is crazy, you know. I think randomly it served me an a video from this guy who was like, you know, UO in 2020, I don't know, 3, I guess it must have been 2022. And it was some like Star Wars guy, and I watched it. It was a cool video. Because I watched it, YouTube was like, listen, you love Ultima, so we're going to barrage you with Ultima now. And then, you know, Tramy and yourself began popping up. So I think I started watching both of you guys back in late last year, early this year. Mm-hmm. I would just like watch the streams after the fact because of our time zone difference. I think it's like, and I remember watching them thinking, I can't play this, or I'm going to like, it's over for me, you know? So I held out for a good few months, and then eventually I was like, all right, you know what, it's time to jump in. So yeah, dude, it was just, I watched one YouTube video, and YouTube just like, it targeted me, you know, they wore me down, dude.
The Star Wars guy, he wears the Stormtrooper helmet.
He wears the helmet. Yeah.
His name escapes me right now, and I feel like
I can't remember.
He follows me on Twitter, and cool. He actually did a podcast with Mustache Gaming, Poor podcast, and that video is a walk down memory lane, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And he played on Outlands for a little bit. Gruber, is it? Gruber. Oh, I'm hating myself right now for not knowing his name.
No, it's fine.
But I've watched a lot of his videos, and it's funny because April Fools, okay, you know, like we said, he wears that Stormtrooper helmet.
Yeah.
And April Fools, he's like, I'm gonna do a face reveal. I'm gonna do a face reveal on Saturday, right? And everybody's like, oh, okay, you know, and they're like, it's April Fools. And he's like, no, I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it. And he goes live. And you know the like loading screen on, you know, with the little circle? Yeah. He's just got that playing. It's a video that starts with him like about to take his helmet off, and then all of a sudden it just buffers and loads. And he has this thing going live stream for 12 hours of just loading.
That's genius, dude. I love it.
Like, people were sitting there just watching the thing the entire time, waiting for him to be like, okay, here I am, you know, and he never did it. He never did it.
Yeah, amazing.
And to this day, he still posts pictures, just him in that Stormtrooper helmet, and I've never seen his face. But that's funny. Yeah. And then on your take about Tramy, man, I've said it many times. He's what really, I guess, pushed me off the ledge to finally make a video. And it wasn't because he said, hey, Pwn, make a video. It was just his videos inspired me to go ahead and do one that was terrible, but it came from the heart. And I've always said that, you know, that's really all they need. I swear you have like AAA video editing experience from like, you know, a past life and or your last 35 years or something.
Yeah.
But, you know, I tell a lot of people that like, if they want to make videos, just make one. It doesn't have to be amazing. And then I'll show them my very first video and it's just terrible, but it's content, and you just continue to improve each video every time, and then you'll get somewhere with it. Right. And you'll find what your niche or whatever it is. But, you know, that's really cool, man, because I think Tramy, he brought a lot of people to this server. A lot of people.
Yeah.
And
he is a rogue element, though, because I still obviously subscribe to him. I watch his shorts. Mm-hmm. And now and again, he'll just post a short. Like his last one was just him like naked in a sauna. And I was like, dude, how do I explain this? You know, I'm like flicking through my phone, you know, it's just him sitting like in a sauna naked. It's like, all right, well, I'm just going to have to, on my work PC, you know, they're going to see that. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, how do I explain this man?
Just covering his junk, you know?
Yeah. It's like, dude, like there's no, he's just, he's a rogue element.
he's extremely charismatic, man. You know, it's so natural. Like, he's just got that shit-eating grin on his face all the time, and he's just like, you know, it's great.
Yeah. I think he's probably got a lot of players playing Outlands, but also drinking sparkling water. Let me tell you,
Club soda.
Club soda, yeah, of course, yeah. He is a salesman through and through, but naturally, you know. Yeah. Like you leave his stream like, how do I get all these club sodas? Like, what's going on? Yeah, man, he's a good guy.
So I've never heard it from you, but I've heard, you know, it's rumored that your real life job is something to do with AAA games.
Okay, yeah.
Only listen, I'm not trying to dox you or you dox yourself, so only tell us what you want. But like, what can you kind of tell us about your real life?
Yeah. No. I can be pretty forthcoming. I've been lucky to make video games for the last 16 years. I've worked on games that you've heard of, like Sea of Thieves and Star Citizen. I worked on games you've never heard of, and that's fine. I work on Hunt Showdown at the moment, which I really love. And yeah, I've been doing it since I was left university. I was 21. So interestingly, I started working in games because of Ultima. There's always a connection. But it wasn't actually my intended career path. I left high school like a lot of people. Like, I had no idea what to do. Like, no idea. Mm-hmm. In Scotland, one of the many benefits is that university is free. So I was like, well, may as well like go and figure something out there. And I did a marketing course because in my mind I was like, everything's marketing. And that's where I was headed. I was like interviewing like sports companies to work in like golfing or something like that. And a buddy of mine who was a little bit like Tramy, he was just like an infectious personality. He was like, nah, man, make games. So I ended up applying for a QA role. I got the interview. And in the interview, I obviously applied and I was like, listen, I know nothing. So I'd be a great employee because everyone applying, they know stuff. I'm going to come in fresh. Somehow that worked. Don't know how. And then I got in the interview, and the first question was asking me like, you know, have you ever tried to like break games or like, you know, cheat the system? And I was like, oh fuck. And then Ultima came flooding back to me, and I was like, oh, I used to sell like fake dye tubs in Ultima, and I would like I started telling all these like scams I would do in Ultima. I was a young bad thief.
Yeah.
And that was enough. And that was enough where they were like, oh yeah, you know what, you have done this in the past and you've got that kind of that bad mindset. So Ultima sailed me through my interview, and my buddy Mike and Ultima, they just kind of sailed me through, and I've been doing it for 16 years since. Like, I was on the verge of taking a completely different job, and I just completely, you know, 180 and went a different direction.
That's awesome. I would imagine it is because of the scams you did in Ultima, and they were just like, you know, this guy is creative. He's figuring out ways in the game that, you know, people can attack, and he could develop it to kind of block that sense or whatever, you know. I mean, No, it was a big part of it. The first game I worked on, sadly, was a bit of a flop, but it was called APB. It was All Points Bulletin. It was like a cops and robbers kind of MMO. In many ways ahead of its time, in many ways far behind its time. But I was a QA tester, and my role was to like find exploits. So I would find them, and I would bug them, and sometimes they would say, "Oh, we're not going to fix this. It's not a problem." So I would go into the next playtest, and I would abuse that so badly they had to fix it. You know? I remember I found a way, like the equivalent here would be like, I found a way to kill people in shelter, basically, and they were like, "Oh, no one's going to do this." So I was like, "All right, I'm going to abuse the hell out of this." And that was my first job, and it was awesome. Yeah, I loved it, and I've been in the industry ever since. Yeah, you hear that, Outlands? Look out. He's going to figure something out.
No, definitely not. Definitely. I am genuinely, I'm here for the ride for Outlands, you know?
Yeah.
I think one of the coolest parts of gaming is like sports. It's like you have that interaction, that feedback. You've kind of got ideas of how to improve things. But on like a gaming level, but also on a professional level, I'm so impressed with Outlands that I'm just kind of like, listen, wherever Owen wants to take us and Lucius and everyone, I'm here, you know, like if you were to wipe my mind of Outlands and say, here's 5 people, or however many they have, go and make your version of Ultima, I would never make anything as good as Outlands. So I'm just like, I'm here for the ride.
Yeah, man. I can remember the first time I kind of, I don't want to say disagreed, but was like, wait, what? With something that they were implementing was right at the first expansion when they were introducing necromancy and chivalry.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh no. And I was like, man, I don't know. I just remember what that was like on retail, and I wasn't a big fan of it, right? I was kind of about it, but they did it their way in true Outlands fashion, completely nothing like what retail had, and it turned out really, really good. And it was at that point where I was just like, man, they know what they're doing, and if everything that they've implemented, it's at like a level of pristine and like, really like thought about, really made sure that it was done correctly. There's no holes in it. I mean, to the best of their ability, right? But it's just top quality, man. It's the Nike of indie games, if you will. And I just got to give them tons of respect for that, man. It's huge.
No, it's insane. And you listen, we're definitely pyramid scheming now, right?
Big time. Yeah.
Always. The Outland shills, here they are again.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I hear on Reddit, Pwncast. I'm a shill.
100%.
Yeah. But I generally do think it is very impressive. And my partner, Mrs. Crumpet, she works in games as well. And I have said it a few times, like, man, they've done something special with Outlands. And even like, there is obviously like in the Discord, it's quite big, and there is going to be personalities or like kind of assholes and kind of memeing. But even the Discord is impressive, and like the number of events they do. I know some of them are reskinned, and I get that, but it feels like every month there's a thing to do. Turkey's popping out, like killing me, unexpected. We got the Hip Lantern grind coming up, the Advent calendar. I feel like there's always something to do, and I feel like a lot of games can learn from what Outlands have done, especially smaller games where they're maybe more niche and they won't expand that far. But I think Outlands maintains players so impressively well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that goes back to, like you said. I mean, the Discord, of course, it has its assholes, but they're not just immediately pushed out. You know what I mean? Like they gotta. It takes more than just pissing off Owen to get you kicked out of the server. But at the same time, he's not afraid to kick someone out if he knows that they're going to be detrimental to the gameplay of others, basically, so to speak. And it is, man. It really is impressive. I got to ask you this. So since you've been in that industry for 16 years, as far as developing games goes, I mean, you've played different types of games, some probably less technology driven, less developer intrusive. I don't know if that's the right word. Up to Star Citizen is very in depth, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of what was it like, the differences of growing into more in depth games with more coding behind them?
Yeah. So after I worked on APB, it was a kind of very, very big game. The guy who actually did that game, he was the original creator of Grand Theft Auto. He did Crackdown, if you remember that game. Then he tried to do APB, and it didn't go very well, sadly. But after that, I pivoted to mobile. Actually, it was like the mobile boom. And in Scotland, there are games companies like Rockstar is there and a few others, but not many. It was very mobile driven. So I jokingly tell people that I've made games for you and I've made games for your mother, right? I made Match 3 games, Bubble Poppers, and those are great ways to learn how to make games because you make them so much quicker. They're less complex and you push out updates every week. So that was like super small team, super quick, super super agile. I'm getting into my role here. But and it was really, really enjoyable. It was just simple games that you could make quickly and kind of churn out content for. But then, Sea of Thieves, Star Citizen, Hunt, there are like hundreds of people working on those games to make them. I think that was the biggest challenge for me, was going from like me and my team of 10 people working on like 2 small games to being part of a 200 plus person team. I mean, I think Star Citizen's like maybe 400 or 500 now. And realizing you're such a small part of this big cog, and one thing can throw off kind of the whole operation. Which is crazy. And
then finding what that one thing is probably a nightmare.
So, it can be.
Okay, so let's switch it up a little bit and go back to your YouTube channel itself. I mean, I remember that first video that you posted. It was, for me, it was just like my jaw dropped, and I was like, I was excited, just because it's such a great level of content to be put out for Outlands, Ultima Online in general, which, I'll pivot real quick and I'll come right back. But I think a lot of people misunderstand that content for Outlands and streamers that do stuff for Outlands, whether it's a shill or not, or whatever you want to call it, it helps other servers and retail itself. I can't tell you how often I get a message saying like, hey, my shelter doesn't look like yours. And then they send me a picture of Haven and retail, or, hey, Chivalry doesn't look like yours. And they send me their Chivalry stuff on retail. And I'm like, well, that's because you're playing retail. And they're like, oh, okay. And then, they either stay there or they don't. But they were like, well, hey, I came back to Ultima because of your videos, so thanks. And I'm like, cool, and I don't care where the people land. I'm just glad they're playing Ultima, honestly.
Yeah,
yes, exactly. I would like for them to play Outlands, but I'm not going to be like, the hell are you doing playing that server? You should be on Outlands. Like, just play wherever you enjoy, man. But, going back to, your videos are top notch, man. And I talked about it a little bit at the beginning, where it's something that you can sit there, you can get your coffee mug or your beer and just like chill, and it's like a TV show, and it's cozy. And honestly, I'm looking forward to a nice cold day with the fire going and listening to that lo-fi cracking, music, and just chilling to 12 hours of whatever, So, I mean, what made you start making YouTube videos? Have you had any previous channels? I mean, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I think you said it in the last episode that like, your first video is never going to be great, and that wasn't my first video. It's my first Ultima video, but it definitely wasn't my first video. It's hard to say why I like making videos. I think there's an addiction there, and I think you probably feel the same way. It's like, it's this creative treadmill almost, where like you want to just make a thing, and then the thing goes out and you get positive or negative validation, and you go, okay, I'll try again. But I started making videos. I think like a lot of people do. I was playing League of Legends with friends, and I would just like throw up like clips on YouTube. I tried to make a couple of my own videos on League of Legends, realized that I was pretty average at the game, and who wants to watch that? It was like good ideas, terrible execution, terrible gameplay, wasn't worth watching. So I have a YouTube channel. It's called Survival Crumpet, actually. It still is there. It's got like 3,000 subscribers, but it's your classic first YouTube channel, where you can go on it now and it's like League of Legends videos, Dead by Daylight gameplay. I reviewed Mad Max, the video game, because that was cool. I did some Rust. It was like all over the place. It was like a Dear Diary of videos. It's a bad channel if you want to have consistency, because I'm all over the place. And actually, I did message you early on. I was like, man, should I upload it here or should I start a new channel? Because I was really back and forth. But I went new just because that first channel, I had like 100 videos. So again, my first video, was not to the quality of my first Outlands video. But I think so 100 videos, 3-ish K subscribers. But it's just a dumping ground of like unrelated ideas, whatever my flavor of the week was, like I like Skill Up. He's like a games reviewer. I'd watch him and go, oh, I could do a game review, and I'd make it and go, nah, that's not for me. I was playing Dead by Daylight. Oh, I'll make a Dead by Daylight video. Nah, that's not for me, and then I actually made a second channel purely for Dead by Daylight. Very quickly realized that enjoying playing a game and making videos for a game are so different.
Yeah.
Realized that real fast. Let me tell you, I made. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's one of those things that I feel like I've heard that before, but until you like have to make your like 10th Dead by Daylight video, and you're just like, I just don't want to. Like, I like this game, and now I somehow hate this game. What happened?
Yeah. Yep.
And actually, so I made a second channel. It was about to hit like 1,000 subscribers in about 15 videos, and I was like, man, I don't like doing this. I feel like I'm forcing myself to make these videos to grow a YouTube channel. It's like I'm not making them to make them. I'm making them to like gain subscribers, which felt really bad. So I actually planned to quit YouTube altogether. And I remember this Summit 1G quote where he said, when his channel dies on Twitch, he's going to be a full-time RuneScape streamer because that's what he wants to play. But he can't play it now because no one's going to watch. But if he didn't care, he would play RuneScape. And I was like, man, if I don't care, what would I play? And I was like, I'm playing Outlands. So I started playing it with the intent of just being like, I'm done making videos. And then YouTube is an addiction, as I've said, and at my first day, and I was like, oh man, I really like this. I kind of want to like share some kind of story. It took me probably like 250 videos over multiple years, 2 different channels, to finally like click with here's a game I like, a kind of video I enjoy making, and it comes together naturally, right? Like my first video, 12 Hours of Bard, I just played the game, and then I like turned it into a story. Like it was the best possible kind of video. And my videos after then have had a slight twist to them, but a twist that I want to do. It's like, if I wasn't recording, I would probably do this anyway, which is like the best combination.
That's good, man. I knew there had to have been something previous to that. Now now you're gonna get to watch your subscriber count go up on the other YouTube account.
I'm never going back to them. Yeah.
No, but either way, man. I mean, that's really good, and you're 100% right, man. I think that anybody who is making YouTube content or even streaming Ultima Online, like if you're doing it for subscriber count, come on, dude. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's a 27-year-old wizard game.
Yeah.
We all want more people to play it, and with that, we'll all grow. But if this is not a game that's gonna make you the next Asmongold or whoever else.
Or anyone. Yeah. Asmon Silver, Asmon Bronze. We ain't getting anywhere near.
Exactly. Yeah, just not happening. So it's really important to have and want that creative aspect to it, and for me it's kind of the same thing. Like I that first video I made was terrible, and every time I just wanted to learn something new. And I still do. I try to, well, what if we do it this way? Or I add this to it or whatever and really hone that. I like learning things and trying new things and tweaking little things. Sometimes they're noticeable, sometimes they're not. And I would say, honestly, this year, for me, it was less video editing improvements and more streaming improvements, like just trying to add more events in the game or in the stream and add more interactions or ways that I can get chat to interact and things like that. I wanted it to be, I've said show many times, but I want it to be a show, right? I want to be the star of my own show and host something and just it be extremely entertaining. And I've said it before, like the best thing about YouTube or Twitch or whatever you want to call it, just, being an online personality, I guess, is what you said there is that creativity, being able to have a creative outlet. And I can't tell you what that's done for me in a positive manner as far as like mental health. You know, I don't come from a weird mental health, I shouldn't say weird, a bad mental health background or anything like that, but it's just helped tremendously. You know what I mean? And that just feel good about, I created that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely. And you said there about like every video or stream for you is like do something different or something new, I should say. And I think the same way, because then like it doesn't matter how the video does. It's like, oh, I did this thing and I think it worked, or maybe it didn't, and you're looking at it from a different angle. Whereas, as I mentioned, when I had this previous Dead by Daylight channel, I was looking at it from the angle of, oh, it got like this many followers, or this many views, or this many subscribers or likes, and it just didn't feel like I felt like I was making something to please the algorithm, right? This mysterious algorithm, versus being like, no, I want to make this thing, and like when I put it out, I'm already happy because I made the thing I want to make, and even better if people watch it. But it's like, my success, I guess, with my videos isn't everyone liked it, or else I wouldn't make a a leather farming video, right? Because it's like niche within niche. I'm really like getting to like the pixel nerds there, dude.
If anybody can turn leather farming, 12 hours leather farming, 12 hours lumberjacking into something entertaining, it's you. It's like, let's see how he does with this lumberjack. Okay.
Yeah.
So
that was so chill, man. Like to me, Sir Pubert, part of your Discord and your stream, is like he's the lumberjack to me.
Yeah,
I never really got it, but like in my video, I said I was just tired from work. I wanted to play because I'm addicted to Outlands. Mm-hmm. I just started like doing like chill lumberjacking, and it was so much fun, And that's the thing you don't get in other games either. Really, is the multiple play styles. I would just log in. I would like do my JSON script, move around, just relaxing,
Yeah,
and it was surprisingly enjoyable.
Yeah, so they had removed walk out of scripting, which was needed to be done. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I agree. Has to be.
But I was one that was taking advantage of it for longest time. Yeah. Yep. And so when they removed it, I was like, well, okay, there's my cash cow. I guess I'll keep mining a little bit, and so I'd be watching streams, and I found it enjoyable to be watching streams and harvesting. And because it was real easy, Crumpet said something, me just to type in a message.
Yeah, it's the best.
And you get to interact with chat, you get to interact with the streamer, you're getting to make a large amount of money while you're doing it. And it felt really good, man. So through that, I guess honestly, I kind of gained a new appreciation for it. Also, I was able to catch up on some Netflix stuff while I'm making, all that. Previously, it was have 3 miners going while I'm editing videos, and that was wonderful. Don't get me wrong, but I won't lie when I kind of felt scummy that it took. GMs would jump in and be like, hello. And I'd be like, hey, all right, just checking you're there. I'm there. But man, I knew every whack was, 25 gold per, or whatever it was. And it was like, it needed to be gone. So can't be upset. On streaming though, what made you, had you streamed previously? I mean, personally, I know you from Outlands. I don't know if it was on your same channel, a previous channel, or what.
Yeah. So I streamed. Oh man, so many years ago. Before the affiliate program, I was streaming Skyrim back in the day. Great game, love it. So I was streaming Skyrim, and I was streaming to honestly like 70, 80 viewers. Again, this was like pre-affiliate program, it was just, you would just turn on stream. There was no money in it. It was just for fun. And I was doing it just for the fun. But there's only so much Skyrim one man can play. And back then I didn't, because back then you needed like 500 concurrents for like 30 days to become a partner. So I never saw it as like a career, as like a growth. There was no money in it. There was no ad revenue. There was nothing. It was just for fun. So one day I was like, well, I think I'm done. and I stopped streaming. And I would come back now and again, play a little bit Dead by Daylight, hang out with friends, but it was never, never a thing for me. And also back then, I think you and Ego Ganthrone do a great job with this. Is like I felt back then you had to stream like every day. You know, it was like the stream grind. I didn't really enjoy that. Whereas now I kind of love, especially in Outlands, there's, you know, yourself and Ego and others. There's this kind of like community of like, I stream like once a week or twice a week. It's more of an event kind of thing. So yeah, when I saw people doing that, Bear and Ego, yourself and others, I was like, yeah, I could stream Outlands and just do it once, twice a week and be happy with that and enjoy it. And I actually want to stream more, but I don't, because I know I'll enjoy it more when I do it twice a week. And I think you said it in your Discord, today or yesterday, that like forcing yourself to like stick to those days makes those days feel more special, and you have more energy on those days as well. So I'm hyped to stream tomorrow. I'm so excited to get in there and do my societies. But I know I'm excited because I didn't stream any other day. You know, like I'm jazzed to get in there.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Originally, it was going to be like it was 2 days. It was Wednesday and I don't know, Friday or something. No, I don't know, but it was 2 days, Wednesday and Saturday maybe. I don't know. And then it turned into, okay, let's do 3. And then it turned into 4. And the Tuesday was like a maybe day. And now the maybe day is doesn't happen a lot. But it's exactly that, man. When it comes to Sunday and Monday, you know, I'm like looking forward to streaming on Wednesday. Yeah. And I don't jump on and be like, well, I don't got nothing else going on today. I'm caught up on my video editing, so I'll just go ahead and jump on and stream. And for some people, hey, that works out great. I'm not, you know, if that's who that is, you know, or they like to just wake up and start farming and farm for 12 hours because they don't work that day. That's great. I mean, that's whatever works, but it's just for me personally. And another reason I like that is because, you know, the people that like to watch me, they know that I'm going to be live here in 2 hours, right? Because it's Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And then it's the same for Whiskey Saturday. Everybody knows about Whiskey Saturday, right? And it's because it's a set schedule and people look forward to that as well as I look forward to that. And I just, it's helped me a lot. I'm a very schedule kind of person. Like,
me too.
I don't like things just randomly popping up or you know, happen to change things. I'm boring, I guess. I don't know.
No, me too. I'm so boring. I'm the same. Same. Yeah. I like to know, like, this weekend we're doing these things. Cool, got it. I'm ready. I'm not my partner. She's the opposite. She's like, oh, we should go like to Wales today, which is a couple hours drive. I'm like, what? Like, we didn't plan this. Can
we do it tomorrow? Is it okay?
Yeah. Can we plan this? We got to get up early. We got to. So yeah, I'm definitely a schedule and routine oriented person.
If you
I'm also very boring.
If you think about it, like, think of your favorite show. We'll just say Spider-Man, but I don't know where Spider-Man came from. But Stargate. Spider-Man.
Let's just get cut to the chase. Stargate.
All right, Stargate. Yeah. So we'll say Stargate. It's like it just turns on the TV at a random time. You know what I mean? Good luck. Good luck catching it. It wouldn't be your favorite, indeed. But if you knew it came on every Tuesday at 1:30, then you're going to make sure that you are at your house, in your couch.
I'm ready.
Your favorite beverage, popcorn, whatever it is, ready to go. And I just, for me, that's part of the thought process. But
no, I totally agree. Do you think it's weird though that is that because of our age? Like, think of a kid today, and you're like, "Come on, man, you got to tune into your TV show 8 p.m. on a Friday." They're like, "What are you talking about?" You know?
Yeah.
You know, like I wonder how much that will change as we get older and die. No, you're probably right. I mean, well, everything's streamed too, you know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or like, you know, you pick it up at a later time.
Yeah.
But you know, so Skyrim, and was that just in TV, Or was that still
no,
Twitch?
it was still Twitch then. Yeah,
it was still Twitch.
It was still Twitch, and I actually started streaming because so after I left mobile gaming, I joined this kind of small indie studio in Scotland, and part of that role was going to be doing promotion for the game, and I've already got an accent. I already talk quite fast, but go back 10 years and let me tell you, this podcast would never have happened. I look at my YouTube analytics and people turn on subtitles and I'm like, these mother. No. But I get it. Listen, I get it. But so I started streaming because I wanted to help this game and do promotion for it. I knew I spoke too fast. I knew I don't enunciate. And this podcast, if people who are listening, it's going to be up and down. They're going to be like, I know what he's saying. Then they'll be like, oh shit, I've lost him. And then I'm back. But I did streaming to improve that. I had like a sticky note on my monitor that was like, slow down. And I would tell my viewers, I was like, if I speak fast, you got to tell me. And we had this fun back and forth, and we would talk about it. And it really helped me improve my speech and my enunciation. Not perfect. I'm never going to be perfect, but it really helped. And it got to the point where this game I worked on, we announced it at PSX, which was PlayStation Experience. And I got to go on the live stream, on the stage, 500 people looking at me on the stream. I got to play the game live, talk about it. And it gave me the confidence. Playing Skyrim gave me the confidence to go and do that like a year later. So yeah, it was
that's
a lot
awesome,
of fun.
Dude. That is awesome.
It was a good time. Yeah.
I just so you know, I can understand you just fine.
Good. Yeah.
Let me ask this. So do I talk slow in your thoughts? Like, or are you like, hurry the F up, you stupid ginger, talk faster?
no. Edit that out. No, totally fine. I think it's just I think Scotland and Ireland, I'm sure other countries as well, but we have parts of our country that just talk naturally fast. And where I'm from, it just has that, you know?
Yeah.
And my partner, she's Scottish. My best friend, he's from the same city as I am. So if we don't speak, I get better. And then he will talk to me, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm falling back into bad habit. But we moved to France for a couple of years. And I remember when we got there, I was the only native English speaker, and I was the only Scottish person. Mm-hmm. And some days I'd be talking to someone, and they'd be nodding, and I'm like, "Do you know what I'm saying?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, so I've definitely improved a lot. That's but I think that's like the beauty of accents in different cultures, right? Like, you don't want everyone to sound the same or talk the same, you know.
Well, I do think too. You know, playing online games, especially these days where everything is so voice, you know, important to be in voice with who you're playing with. We as gamers hear a lot more accents.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
are able to kind of depict those accents a lot. I mean, if I jump into my Sin Discord right now, there's probably 15 people in there, and you know, half of them aren't even in America. You know what I mean? It's just so. You know, there's that. But let me ask this: as far as like streaming and things like that, what would you say currently? I mean, obviously there was Skyrim previously. You're playing Outlands now. I mean, what's your stream all about, and what would you say the vibe or the type of content that they can expect from it?
Yeah. You know, I set my title on my last stream to I was like, "You're sick and monitor viewing." And I think that's the like my vibe of my stream. It's like, I think you have Whiskey Saturday, you've got, you know, Gan Thrones, Alter Egos, Team Up Sunday. To me, those are like tune-in events. And then other streams, which I think of mine as, it's like you're playing the game while I'm on the other screen talking to you or to chat or to whatever. And that's kind of the vibe that I go for. It's kind of like a chill, you know, we're playing together. We're both in, you know, your old spare bedroom, hanging out, just playing the game. And that's the vibe I try and go for. It's not, I mean, it can get high energy because UO like is unpredictable. But generally speaking, it's just like you've got some chill background music. I'm normally doing PVM. People come along and hang out. Amish comes along, Ryland, so on, so on, and we just chill and play the game. And it's like a relaxed background viewing is what I try and go for, because those are normally my favorite streams. I love watching like Ryland play or Frumpy or whoever, because like you were saying, it's like I'm working, so it's my second monitor, and it's like a podcast almost, like a radio show. I think that's the vibe that I try and go for.
Yeah, I do enjoy being because now I get to watch streams while I work. It's been a blessing, and so I like it when you're streaming, and I get to just have you up there while I'm doing my thing at work, and if I can jump over there and type something real quick or what have you, and of course you got the good music playing, and I like how you've got the title of the song and who it's by. Because there's times where I'm like, what is it? Oh, it's the Final Fantasy VII intro music, or it's Final Fantasy 3. Yes, I said 3 and not 6 because the SNES cartridge said 3. Anyways, but it's that, and I really enjoy that, man. It's wonderful for sure. So
I love gaming music. I think it's fantastic. It's at my work, I do a lot of like kind of writing or planning, so I can't really listen to lyrics quite a lot. It distracts me, so I put on a lot of kind of the gaming or kind of movie soundtracks in the background, and it's I think they're fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, like Skyrim has a beautiful soundtrack. Most of the Final Fantasy games have beautiful soundtracks, and I mean, the list goes on, man. There's a lot of really good. Doom. Me and Sweet talked about Doom, man.
Sweet man's Doom,
I'm just working out today listening to Doom, and I was like, Sweet would be proud of me right now.
So, he would.
Yeah. I think I know the answer to this, but indulge me anyways. As far as the community goes, how have they been since day one of you streaming? How have they been, throughout you streaming towards you and even seeing you in the game?
Yeah. Well, I'm at that great point where Amish Hammer, a guest on the podcast, will talk to me in Twitch chat, and at the same time send me AI photos of me as a fat Pokemon trainer. So I'm like, all right, I'm in, dude. I'm in the community. I'm getting bullied in Discord PMs while I'm streaming. I've made it.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, genuinely fantastic. I think every streamer I think is so nice, and I'm actually really glad that we're seeing different styles of play now happening on Outlands on Twitch. I think when I started, there was like stealing and PVM, and now we've got some like PKs who are streaming. Like Hacks is streaming again, doing his PKing. I think that's great, but everyone's like super positive and friendly, and I love that when people can, like if I'm streaming and I'm in like Cavernam, like Bear will appear and be like, "Hey, let's party." I'm like, "Cool, man, let's party up," or Ryland or Amish or whatever. So I think there's this really nice kind of community, and you see a lot of this. I think every streamer has their community, but we also share the same community, right? Because everyone kind of hops between and supports one another, which I really like. And I think it's a genuinely very positive community. I know Sweetman jokes he's like the grumpy man, but like he's been awesome as well, and Amish is super funny, and
it's like I positive grumpy. I don't think he likes to admit it, but he likes to act like he's a dick, and he's not.
Yeah.
He just but
he's a good dude.
Yeah,
it's a great group, and I like that everyone supports one another. Like I think Ego's a great example where like I'll have everyone's stream open when I'm working, and I'll tab between them, and Ego's there chatting to everyone. Like he's got like 5 monitors. He's in there chatting. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he does really good with that for sure.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, especially in the streamers themselves. I mean, we all do kind of band together. There's not like a lot of, I mean, there really isn't that I can think of like hostility towards one another or just trying to one up the other person. It's just so, we're shouting each other out, having a good time. We understand it's Ultima Online. And like we said, nobody's going to be Asmon Gold, Silver, or Bronze. We're just hanging out, playing our favorite game, and sharing it with with the rest of the community. That, like, I do agree with you. Sure, we all have our own communities where people watch. I think most of that's just time zones.
For sure.
And
for
there
sure.
is some personalities where this person meshes better with your personality versus mine, or whatever. It's
just natural, right? Like that's that's life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, if I watch your stream, I see those same people in Amish's stream or Sanguine Jester's stream, 20 minutes later. So it's all very similar, but that's cool, man. What what kind of goals or upcoming events do you have for streaming or your YouTube channel?
Yeah. So for streaming, I'm going to put it out there. I want to do more like co-streams with people. I think I find it funny sometimes when, like, say me and Amish are streaming at the same time and we're in the same dungeon, but we're not on voice together. It's like we're old school, like typing in chat, like, oh, I'm full, cool, got it, or Red's coming. But I've already said to Ryland, Frumpy, and anyone who's watching, streamer or not, that, like, I'm just happy to hang out and chat. I think there's good vibes. I think we all seem to get along. A lot of kind of similar personalities, and like, I'm ready to go on a stream with Amish and Sweetman and just get bullied for a couple of hours. I can't wait, for that experience.
Yeah.
So I think that is my streaming goal. And at first I thought I'd do it with Wildlands, but that's been postponed for a little bit. I like the idea of exploring Wildlands with Ryland or Frumpy, Amish, whoever. But yeah, I'd love to do more co-streams. I think it's just, you see it in so many other games, but not really in Outlands.
Yeah.
But like, our game is kind of perfect for that, right? And we can chill out and kind of have that podcasty, like, radio vibe and just kind of PVMing. It should be really, really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Or co-stealing. There we go. No.
Yeah, dude, honestly. Yeah. Well, Amish had this idea a while ago of doing like an archer backstab squad. We get 3 or 4 of us all in the dungeon, all kind of backstabbing.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be kind of fun because it'd be strong, but you're also going to get that moment where I walk over Sweetman, or I reveal him and he's like, Crumpet, what the, and like the chaos that will ensue. I think could be a lot of fun. So I think there's a lot that can be done with Outlands and streaming on YouTube that we as creators don't do. I think people like Sweet wants to make a video on how to do PvP. I'm like, you should just do that because no one else is doing it. And if they are doing it, it doesn't matter because they're not you. An example I gave in my stream, I think last week, was if you look up RuneScape, different game, but similar in terms of age and mechanics ish. But they have like hundreds of different styles of videos, and that could inspire so many different UO videos. I think it's kind of very underserved at the moment within Ultima as a whole. Outlands, yes, but Ultima as a whole.
Agreed. Yeah, and also, to your point, like, no one's doing it, but if they are, oh well, make it again.
Yeah.
I don't think that, just because, I mean, for instance, you take UO Outlands, man, I think every single person who's making videos or has made a video, except for you, maybe, has made a backstabber template video. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, it's coming to 12 hours of backstabber.
There you go. I'm sure. Right?
On the train. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just, it's okay. Again, and it's somebody else's perspective, somebody else's style of making a video, things like that. I think that, again, people want to hear different opinions. Just because I made a video over whatever doesn't mean it's the right way. There's 1,000 other ways to say it. I mean, people post a video of a template video of mine in the Outlands Discord, and then it gets torn apart by 20 people. And they're like, "Oh, that's terrible, the video. God dang," and it's like, okay, well, guess what? People are playing it, they're enjoying it. Who cares? It's a game. And I think it's the same for everybody. Should go into that. If they want to make a video, just make it. Who cares if somebody
I agree.
So,
I totally agree.
What if as far as Outlands is concerned, if you could make a suggestion to Owen and Expo, they gave you a ticket. They gave you the golden ticket and said, what do you want done? write it on here and we'll make it happen. What would it be?
Yeah, so I said earlier, I'm here for the ride, and that is 100% true. So in terms of the future, I'm like, wherever they're taking us, I'm there for. But I think, I've said it on my stream a few times, but that first player impression, I think, could be so improved. And you mentioned tutorial and getting your first aspect, and I actually agree with that, but I think just the basics, like when you make a new character in Outlands, it's like the game window is this size, your backpack's closed, your paper doll's closed. There are all these incredible settings within this client that are off by default. The amount of time someone will join my stream and be like, "Oh, how do you do that?" And I'm like, "Options." It's like the third thing.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, you don't know. And so much of it is new as well that, I've learned most of it from like Amish or Ego or Bear, because I'm streaming and they're looking at my screen going, "What are you doing? You need to fix this, this, and this." But new players don't know that, and they don't know how to ask or figure it out. So that's what I would change. I would just be like, just make the game window a bit bigger, have the paper doll open the backpack, turn on some of those settings in the options. And I think that experience would feel better. I do agree with you, some initial quests would be good and so on and so forth, but just as a baseline, because I hate making a new character, because I'm like, fuck, I had to like drag everything over, reset all my settings. And
then you ultimately forget one, right?
I watch that Jace Owens video every time. I'm like, okay, I've saved it in my chat with Ryland on Discord. So I go to Ryland's chat, I scroll up, find it, watch it, read all my settings, and like boom. But I have the benefit of I played the game 10 years ago. I watched you and Tramy a lot before I played, and I want to play. So like my barrier, I'm like probably the perfect player for Owen to come in.
Yeah.
I had a friend start playing who'd never played before, and like his template was terrible. His game window was awful. He was like double clicking bandages, clicking himself. All that stuff that I think is important. You do learn it, but so much of that could be made just slightly better for new players. And I think it would improve retention, but
I completely agree with you, and I'll tell you, man, I played full screen some on retail with like the original client, but when I played on UO Forever, dude, I shit you not, I had that little bitty square at the top left for years and years. I never knew that you could make it bigger without going full screen. So, I mean, we're talking, the UO Forever for me was 8-9 years ago. So, I mean, it's not really that long ago. Maybe it was shorter than that. I don't know. But let's see, we've been on Outlands for 4, 5, something like that. So, like 7 something. But either way, you're completely right, man. Because otherwise, I know there's people out there that are playing with small screens because maybe they're not involved in the streamer community, or they're not involved in a Discord or whatever that's showing those, screenshots and stuff like that. So, I mean, there is people out there that are playing this game like a single player game, and that's totally okay. I mean, people are going to play how they want to play it, but those people get left behind in the things of options like what you're talking about. I agree. Yeah. And you make a video over it, and it's changed a week later because they're constantly updating it. Those awesome things like that should just come as default. Like, man, I got a comment on last night's stream saying like, "Hey, how did you get your elemental bars to go back after they died?"
Oh yeah, it's
like, okay,
that's a big one, dude. Yeah.
And he doesn't know
I get that a lot in grid loot.
Grid loot.
Yeah, I get grid loot all the time. Because. But then you have to explain, but you want both of them, and here's why, and so many little caveats are like, so many lovely little settings the game has that once you know about them and you have them, you're like, oh, this is huge. This is a massive difference. Like, find my corpse in Omni. Man, when someone told me that, I was like, that's great. I'm going to set up that setting right now. Yeah. And some of this you just need to learn by playing the game. I totally get that. And I think if you do too much hand holding, it's not Ultima anymore. But also,
but settings, man, that's just
exactly. No, I totally agree. That first player experience is almost like we're going to make it hard for you on kind of purpose, to weed out the weak. But I think it would make it.
I think those quality of life settings are so important. For that, just make them default, like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying like, hey, let's just throw them a $1 million gold check in their bag and let them,
no, I totally agree.
What they want.
Yeah.
That's a terrible idea, right?
Yeah, I totally agree.
But those things will keep people here a lot longer, and I don't think that they would be difficult to change the default setting for considering the stuff that they've done in the past. But
exactly. Yeah. Compared to like building all of Wildlands, right?
Yeah.
But it's tough though, because they've got to balance. It's as much as we are saying like help new players. You've got so many other players who are ready for the next aspect. Ready for the next dungeon, and you trying to maintain that balance. Is in a. You're 5 years old now, Outlands? 4 years, you said?
Yeah. Okay. Something like that. 4 or 5. I'm always 1 or a year off, but yeah.
Yeah. It's tough to maintain that balance of like new content plus thinking about new players. But yeah, if I could change anything, it would be that. I think it would make a big difference. What
other games are you playing? Are you excited about this coming year, whatever?
Yeah. So up until last week, I would have said Outlands. I'm all in. Like it's all I've played really since July.
Sure.
A little bit of things here and there, but man, everyone's got me nervous about this hip lantern grind. I've heard from so many players that the torches last year like burnt them out. They almost quit. Like so many people have warned me from like different guilds and different like PVM, PvP, whatever, that I'm taking my foot off the gas for the next couple of weeks. I'm still streaming, but I'm trying to play a bit less because I was playing every night because I'm like, I love playing the game. I'm learning so much. But I'm trying to play less at the moment because I know I'm going to grind the lanterns. So I've started playing some WoW Classic for the first time, actually. Never played it. So I started playing that about 2 weeks ago. And it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I mean, I prefer Outlands, but again, to make sure I don't burn out trying to get my goddamn Aegis Keep lantern, I'm keeping myself fresh right now.
I get that, man. So it's December 16th, the hip lanterns. And I mean, I'm one of them. I took off work. We got that week off. And then, of course, Christmas, I'll have the next 2 days off for the following week. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be off quite a bit. And, my sole reason is I'm going to farm hip lanterns. And, there were a lot of people. Some people were really lucky and, they farmed 10 million and they got every lantern. And then there were some people that farmed 10 million and got no lanterns. Nothing, and, it's RNG. I don't think that they should change the drop rate or anything like that. But, it is what it is. But, there were a lot of people that were just like, man, I farmed so much. I didn't get anything. And I just really got disheartened by it. And I quit for 2 or 3 months. I too, you've heard me talk about it on my streams or in my Discord is flooded with it. There's a group of us that are playing, World of Warcraft, doing Mythic Plus dungeons every night. But we're all like, we're off work and we're going to grind hip lanterns for that week. We're getting ready for it. So
I'm excited. I mean, it's going to be, I'm excited because obviously I'm based in the EU, but I don't quite play at peak time. Like dungeons are busy for me, don't get me wrong, but I kind of avoid that real peak. So I think I'll have a fighting chance. I want to get Wilderness and Aegis. I think Wilderness hopefully should be doable. Aegis is going to be horrible, to be honest with you. So
Aegis and Cavernim.
I thought Cavernim is like the one to go for, which kind of surprises me, but I guess it is kind of a cool hue. But I love Wilderness and Aegis. I'm accepting Aegis is going to be a nightmare, but I'm a bard, so I'm killing things slow. Let me tell you.
So I'll probably play my magic resist and wrestling summoner necro. It's like PvP.
Okay, nice.
PvM. If for when I do like wilderness farming, because I can bully people out of spawns and just flag gray and kill them or chase them out, right? But in dungeons, man, I'm really leaning going back to melee tamer just because it's
I think you have
so
to.
fast.
I think you have to. Yeah.
So
I'm hoping if Rylan, if you see this, come farm with me. He's an archer tamer. I'll go bard. We'll bully people off spawns. I'm ready just to like do some big sessions and try and get a lantern.
It'll be good, man. I'll be playing during the day, which is your time. So I'll come farm with you.
Hell yeah, let's do it. Let's go in there.
Well, cool, man. I two last things. First one is, who should be the next guest on the Pwncast?
Yeah, this is the worst question because I've been thinking about it off and on for since we booked in this podcast. Because there's so many great people in the Outlands community, and like I don't want to list them all, but I don't want to miss someone out.
Yeah.
So I've got two suggestions.
Okay.
Right? So my first suggestion, which I don't think anyone has said before, is I think you should flip the cameras and you should bring back someone else to interview you.
Okay.
Your story's been given. You've like talked about it here in the streams and yada yada. I think having like one place to talk about it, bring back Sweet Man, Bear, whoever, have them interview you, or my fish friend Frumpy. I think he's been killing it in kind of the daytime EU streams at the moment. He's a funny character.
Now, would he be his fish? Literally. Would he be his fish, or would he be his? Because he switches, sometimes.
Yeah, listen, yeah. I've never quite. Gotta be careful what I say here. I've never quite got the VTuber thing. Doesn't really appeal to me. But dude, that fish is awesome. Like to the point where when he turned the fish off, I was like, "Go on, fish, man, bring it back." Like, what is this real person? Yeah. So and it's like weirdly emotive. So yeah, fish or person would be great. I think.
Roggy Froggy. Of course. He also does. Yeah. I noticed today, just like Frumpy, like
little twitches.
They wink and it winks, or they like turn their head, and it's just so like that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
I like Roggy. I think his stream is because I'm a new player, but I'm not really a new player. Whereas he is like watching him reminds me of playing with my friend back when we were 15, and we're just like in a dungeon killing Ettins, thinking we were the coolest people in the shard.
Yep.
And like he'll loot a mob and get like a seed, and he's like, "Oh, I got a rare seed," and I'm like, "Oh man, I miss being that excited about like like sword and shield and stuff." And he's a pretty cool guy as well.
Yeah, he's great, man. He's because he's new. Today I heard him. He's like, I've been going on 2 months now. And and he's rocking his holy swords, and he's down there killing level 2 monsters, and he's like, I've got a big weapon. What are you doing? Screw with me, man.
Yeah. He's like
genuine, man.
Yeah, he's got a youthful excitement for the game, which I think is so rare on a game this old. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
cool. Well, man, last thing is tell everybody where your socials, where they can find you, things like that.
Yeah. Well, thank you first for having me on. It's been great. And Sweet Man for recommending me. Good old Sweat Man. I called him Teat Man once by accident. I thought that was man. Dude, I loved that. Yeah, he didn't like that.
He's Teat Man now.
Sorry, Teat Man. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch. I'm just CrumpetXD, making pretty much only Ultima content. Kind of very addicted right now and having a good time.
That's awesome.
That's
man.
it. Simple.
Yeah. Well, cool deal. Man, I really appreciate you agreeing to be on here. I think it was a long time coming, and I've really enjoyed both your streams and your YouTube content. It's good stuff, and I'm looking forward to 12 hours, whatever's next. Many more to come, and different things that you come up with. So, again, thank you so much for being here, buddy. And heck yeah, buddy.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Yep. All right, buddy. Guys, Pwncast Gaming out.